The FBI says, no, not from us. So where is all this coming from then?
If the data didn't come from the FBI, which is not a certainty at this point, the FBI has left enough wiggle room in its statement that they're still investigating this issue.
Explain that in a little more detail.
FBI said, at this time, we have found no evidence that it came from an FBI laptop or that we have requested this data. It's not as certain as some folks might like it to be.
Right.
Doesn't mean it didn't happen. So the information, if it did come from the FBI laptop, that's a big problem. But if it didn't, this information that they've released today actually is floating around the internet in a lot of ways. I mean, the user ID number is actually used by a lot of applications, a lot of game makers, app developers. That number is actually out there quite a bit.
Okay, so if some of this is out there, then what is the value of this information to a bad guy, to the criminal? What can they do with this kind of stuff?
Despite the sex appeal of this hack, the information that's actually out there right now has very little value.
Really?
It's alarming what the hackers claim they have. They haven't proven that they actually have addresses, cell phone numbers, full names. They haven't proven that yet. They've made a big claim that they have. They might actually have that. The anonymous guys have pulled off some big attacks in the past.
Well, then let's do some hypotheticals. If this were to be some kind of major breach, what would need to happen? What additionally would we have to see?
It'd be a bad identity theft problem for if they have 12 million user accounts and full information, addresses, cell phones, and whatnot. Everybody on that list would be subject to identity theft scams, phishing, and whatnot. And there'd be very little Apple could do about that. You can't change your home address. You might change your phone number. I suppose you could change your user ID, but that's very limited.
Those who are listening to what hacker groups are telling us know about the power of what they're saying. So if there is limited ability for them to do stuff with this data, then why come out and boast about it in the first place?
Well, they're trying to gin up support. Anonymous took a big blow when some of its members were arrested months ago. And if true, this would be a real public relations coup for Anonymous and hackers affiliated with Anonymous. You've got Apple in the headline, you've got FBI, you've got Anonymous. It's a very sexy attack if it turns out to be true.
Let's talk a little bit more about the FBI's role in this as you see it right now. I mean, and what else could we learn about the FBI's role in all this?
The curious thing about the FBI is a lot of people are worried that FBI is using this information to track Apple users. The thing about it is the FBI can just request that from Apple with a court order anyway, and they can get a lot more information with a court order than would be in this database. I mean, they can get your location, they can get a lot of information that you'd probably rather not have in the hands of law enforcement, but if you're the subject of a criminal investigation and they get a judge to sign off on it, they can get a lot more data than is in this database. So the FBI has a lot of tools at their disposal to acquire even more sensitive information. So the fact they would need to cross-reference a bunch of different databases to get information they could get easily anyway,
right?
It's a big leap.
And quickly, what do we know about Apple's relationship with the government and how it deals with these kind of situations?
Apple hasn't commented about this breach yet, or purported breach yet, but if they follow the procedures of other technology companies like Google or Twitter, basically how it works is a law enforcement agency approaches the company, shows them a court order, and says, we would like information on John's cell phone records. We would like information on Jordan's purchases, or whatever they're looking for. And they can get information one by one. It would be highly unlikely that Apple would release millions at once.
Would Apple at some point, depending on how this plays out, when would they feel the need to speak up about it?
Hard to say. They're probably in communication with law enforcement right now, and they're probably trying to figure out, well, if this was a breach, how many users does it affect?
Right.
And I suspect after they communicate with law enforcement, they'd probably issue a statement.
We'll continue to watch it. Jordan, great reporting as always. Jordan Robertson of Bloomberg News. Emily, we'll send it back to you.